Okay, so, stop me if you've heard this one before.
I smoothed out the edges of my personality and the rest just followed suit. Now I am utterly normal.
YouTube.
Right then, we did it. We finally stopped that pesky YouTube ween that the advertisers hate. And the news sites will leave us alone.
Yes, stonks, yes. Bravo. Shoot, I better make this quick. Alright, welcome to late 2019, early 2020 YouTube. You know, I gotta say, that broadcast right there in the title is a bit ironic, especially since we're taking all of the bad ideas from television. You know, a form of media that's a dead man walking despite a few uber loyal fans with all the wrong demographics. And why did this happen? Because they didn't listen to what their community wanted or needed. People's creativity was forcibly restricted because doing otherwise was immoral. It was bad for the children. It was, well, not advertiser friendly. Broadcast television, surprisingly, once had something where shows did their own things, pushing boundaries, etc., before the FCC swooped in with regulation of what can and cannot be shown on TV. Some of it made sense. Just like some, one or two of YouTube's policies have made sense. But the FCC decided that they would step in and help out the suburban mom types by
obscene, indecent, and profane broadcasts.
Yo, Jagger, how'd you get here? Really appreciate you donating your accent to the video, by the way. Much appreciated.
Oh well, I was walking by the studio and saw you were recording, so I figured I would drop by and help out.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate.
Federal law prohibits obscene, indecent, and profane broadcasts.
Alright, thanks for your help. I really appreciate it. I'll hit you up if you're in town again. Alright, see ya. So broadcast TV was and is very calm and
Normal.
the oatmeal of content. Of course, this has prevented a lot of people with revolutionary ideas, like many comedians we have today, from really getting the exposure and the recognition that they rightfully deserved. Things like the Boondocks, Chappelle's Show, South Park, even The Simpsons. Side note, I can't believe The Simpsons was actually controversial for being too edgy when it launched. Granted, the show is older than me, but still, was everyone just that uptight before 9/11 hit? Like, I actually want to know what the big deal with it was, especially since it seems so tame. Shows like that wouldn't exist if a new challenger didn't come through and completely discombobulate the broadcast TV creative model.
You're the one we want to please. Cable gives the choice to you. The who, what, and when that's right for you.
Personal choice. That's what cable TV is about.
Cable TV was fresh, it was new, it cost way too much, and most importantly, it wasn't bound by traditional FCC broadcast rules. Suddenly, you could say no words, you could play with more concepts, even the kids shows started getting in on this. If you fast forward a little, this new, more experimental and risque programming got eyeballs and money. The cable companies gained so much leverage that they could just tell the advertisers to shove it when they had qualms about content. Of course, rights to programming and such are a wasteland and led to Netflix and co taking their cookies and lunch money, but that's a story for a bit further ahead. This lured many, if not all, the uber creative minds from regular broadcast jobs away into cable TV, leaving broadcast a wasteland of local news, I guess This Old House, goat show by the way, and the corpse of PBS Kids. Just between the lines, man. Sorry, just give me a moment. Yeah, that's all well and good, but cable TV is dead now and they weren't YouTube. What does that have to do with anything? It starts with the trending tab. I don't know if you noticed, but for a company as dedicated to using algorithms as YouTube is, only a few kinds of videos ever make the trending tab, despite their often mediocre performance. This wasn't always the case. If you remember, in early 2017, it worked like this. If you uploaded a video and it blew up, like got massive amounts of views really quickly, you were there. Didn't matter what the video was or who made it. If it got massive uptake, you'd be able to see what the site is really about. But then the patron saint of trashy people everywhere did a thing and got advertisers to decide, yeah, these kids on YouTube, they're a bit unstable. We'll just stick to TV. They would have come back in short order. There are just too many eyeballs on this website for it to be good business sense to ignore it. Maybe change a little, but no, YouTube went whole hog. Not only does making content advertisers don't appreciate by doing such small things as using no-no words, not allow you to get money, which, whatever, fine, I get it. If you don't want your brand associated with, say, Filthy Frank or other things like that, that's whatever. But it also severely affects video performance, which YouTube consistently doesn't want to admit, which is par for the course. YouTube makes huge, sweeping changes that have massive effects, like prioritizing watch time and killing animation channels in the process, or shoving anything remotely gaming off of the front page and into its own joke of a trending system, or vague rule changes and selective enforcement, and then pretending that they didn't happen or that they improved the experience for creators everywhere. These harassment guidelines are no different. Some of it makes sense in theory, just a small portion, but as always, there's just too much vagueness in their wording and presentation. Do call-out videos constitute bullying? Does saying something mildly insultive count as harassment? Does a multi-video expose on someone's misdeeds with evidence attached count as that? Because these rule changes are so out of step with what the community does, and because they allow bad actors to flourish, I'd go so far as to say these new guidelines, contrary to their stated intent, will enable abusers and criminals to get away with publishing their abuse on the internet without some kind of reckoning or awareness raising. It'll allow some truly horrible people to skate by for free. As we all know, a big part of the YouTube community's uniqueness and ability to self-regulate is its call-out culture. Currently, any creator, and I mean any creator, that gets any level of success by being exploitative, abusive, cruel, or just plain old mean will eventually have their day in court. We've seen it with Leafy, with Father05, and many other creators. But what happens when they can report said call-out videos for bullying and harassment? Someone like Onision, who we all know is a fan of using laws and platform rules as a convenient little shield for his twisted little layer of stuff we won't talk about here, could take down each and every video exposing his misdeeds and calling him to account. Can you imagine a world where he just kept being able to get away with what he does? Thank you, Patreon, by the way. That's right, you can't, because that's what YouTube and the internet as a whole does. Despite being a bunch of clout chasers who live in LA, randos on the internet, there's a real desire to help the underdog and right every wrong committed, and that's what I think is being lost here. This integral part of the community. It's like, well, policemen by committee, and that's what scares me about the removal of the Leafy content cop.
What we do here is go back.
Now, granted,
Chin. Oh, shit. No chin at all. Weak chin because lost chin.
Hide the chin. It's just his chin disappeared.
Chin implant. Yeah, chins. Chin.
and new TOS doesn't agree. But this further speaks to either ignorance or malice on the part of YouTube's C-suite. Not naming names because that's bullying. That video was iconic. It had millions upon millions of views, and it was exemplary of YouTube's community. You know, the one they like to push away from the front page by moderating the trending tab and affecting visibility and discoverability. But it was, in my opinion, peak YouTube. Preventing bad actors from getting away with what they're doing, like Leafy's constant shtick of going after people just for being different. No one deserves to have that happen to them, but Leafy achieved meteoric success for a while until someone stood up and showed why what he was doing was completely wrong and just a bad idea for the community. No bad deed goes unpunished forever, well, and I think that's what's being lost in the push to put a nice veneer over YouTube and make it look like TV. That and banishing gaming to the shadow realm because people who hear about YouTube in terms like toxic and chaotic aren't on the site. These people don't get it and don't use YouTube, and yet the decisions are made to cater exclusively to their sensibilities. Like YouTube, you have a core demographic. It's the future. Stop chasing people who are never going to accept your website and stop removing the things that really make it tick, day after day. What are you trying to do? Get rid of toxicity? Everybody that went after randos for no reason is gone. You didn't have to lift a finger. There's nothing that could possibly be gained here. It's not a stonk chase. It's a chase after people who will never respect the platform, never have and never will. By trying to change minds that were never going to give you legitimacy, you'll kill the one place where content is actually democratic and free. That broadcast something was supposed to mean something. But then again, who are the people complaining? Just a couple talentless hacks and a toxic cesspool screaming into the void, I guess. Hope they're content with a few, bravo YouTube comments on the New York Times website. And the biggest indignity in these few first weeks of fresh policy trademark is that somehow the Leafy content cop is gone, yet Leafy's entire channel isn't. When the channel is basically
Chin.
but on a much larger scale.
Cable is 24-hour news. Total sports coverage. Cable is in tune, in touch, and it gets better with the uncut, commercial-free entertainment of the premium channels.
You know, it's funny. In the end, cable was doomed not because of its focus on getting them ad dollars or restrictive rights on sports or anything like that. It was Netflix that started the chain reaction, but YouTube was the final nail in the coffin. Not only could you get your standard TV shows and movies, with dubious legality of course, content creation was now democratized. All those home movies and school plays, once dutifully stored in CD cabinets everywhere collecting dust, were now free to be shown to the world. Well, the relatives. The world, yeah. Shoot, some people even started making videos specifically for YouTube. A few of those people are even around today, unfortunately. But now that YouTube is finally capitulating to mainstream media's demands that they settle down, moderate better, become more civilized, they're losing that broadcast yourself. Or maybe it's been gone. Maybe it'll be gone forever. Maybe it's time for YouTube to get rocked by its own Netflix, or, well, YouTube, even if we have no idea where that's gonna be yet. I, for one, don't want to see a unique platform like this change into something sterile, corporate, and lifeless. But at this point, it looks like there's nothing that people who actually care can do. But if YouTube goes down, it can't be quietly. The community can't just sit by and let it happen. It's like what Granddad said in the Boondocks.
Granddad, what do you do when you can't do nothing, but there's nothing you can do?
You do what you can.